Now let's take a look at some of the examples that educators across the state put together for networks and systems design. I'm going to scroll down. This PDF can be found on the NYSED website, but we're going to scroll to page 19, and that's where networks and systems design does start. We're going to start with hardware and software, and you're going to see that you have a few examples for each of the standards. Again, the standards identifier is going to have the grade band. Here we have K1. In the center, it's going to have the name of the concept area, which in this case is networks and systems design, and then the one is the standard number. So you saw these on the document that we went over for the standards, and it ties in the same here on this document for the activities. If you have a printout of the standards, or if you want to pull that up in another tab, that way you can read the standard and then look at the examples. That could be very helpful for you as you're organizing your thoughts on what these could look like in your classroom. Here, I'm going to take a brief overview of the standards examples that are on this document. I'm just going to quickly go through them, but I highly recommend that you either pause the video or after watching the video, take some time and explore the examples that are for the grade band that you currently teach so that you have a better idea of what these could look like for you as you implement them. So here we are starting in that hardware and software area, and you'll see that there are 4 examples at the top here. The first example talks about labeling. The next one is identifying examples of input and output. The other one talks about printing pictures of computer devices that you might experience. And then the last one is just a discussion on impact or input and output. So you can see at kindergarten, we really could be doing charting. We could be having circle time discussions. We could be sorting different activities or sorting different cards going through. As we move up to the older grades, we can see that you can cover these in science or even social studies. We could talk about inventions. We can talk about different revolutions that we've had, sensors, and how input and output work. As we move into the next standard, so NSD2, here we're looking at different types of computing devices. We're talking about how apps and web browsers work. We're looking at drawing different types of systems, exploring GPS, or even doing some diagramming. Moving on to the third one in networks and systems design, here's where we're doing a little bit of the debugging, where we're looking to fix the errors, but it's more systems versus coding. Here we're looking at maybe building some troubleshooting ideas or even flowcharts. Help desks, I've already mentioned, could be very helpful here. And then as we get into networks and the internet, which is our NSD4 and then 5, you're going to see that this is where we can talk about ways that information travels. We could explore things like Morse code. We could talk about how things organize as far as like putting different information in different ways. And we could also be talking about chunking different types of data. We could be talking about servers and routers and the devices that we use on a regular basis. Compare and contrast activities could be great here. We can sort different activities, create diagrams, and so on. So you'll notice that as we go through networks and systems design, you might already do some of these things in your classroom. But if you don't, this is a great opportunity for you to get some ideas on how you can implement them. So again, I highly recommend that you take some time and really look at the standards and compare them to the examples so you can really see what it should look like in action. And then in the next video, we'll dive into some examples of different things you can do as well.